presentation. We have two speakers, and they're representing Yaroslav Mudriy National Law University from Ukraine, Dr. Ievgeniia Kopytsia and Dr. Yevhen Suietnov. So the title of the presentation is Sustainable Development Goals in Context of Mountains. So Dr. Ievgeniia, maybe you will start, then Yevhen will join. It's up to you to decide. Please, floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the introduction. And thank you, Doctor. I'm really privileged to have this opportunity to take part in Summerfield School devoted to various hot topics of the present. And it's a great honor for me to be a faculty member representing Yaroslav Mudriy National Law University, as it has been already announced, and to be the speaker on our today technical session, number 7, that is devoted to various legal and practical issues of mountain sustainability. And I would like to have a very warm welcome to all the renowned speakers and participants of this technical session. As it is always, as it has been stressed by the previous speaker, it is always common and joint efforts that make the change happen. So it's of a vital importance of us to gather all and to communicate on the different aspects and issues. And as I have already been introduced, my name is Ievgeniia Kopytsia, and I'm an associate professor of Yaroslav Mudriy National Law University, and I'm as well a deputy in chief of Journal of Environmental Law and Policy that is founded by the Grassroots Institute. And together with my dear colleague, Dr. Yevgeny, he is a head of our department of Yaroslav Mudriy National Law University, the Department of Environmental Law. We have prepared a presentation on sustainable development goals in context of the sustainable development in the context of mountains. And I would like to ask you if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see, and also please can you close the Zoom?
Sure. I see, I understand. Let me, okay, just a second, slideshow, and yeah.
Evgenia, can you close?
Yeah.
Yes, perfect,
yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, now you can see it, perfectly. Oh, okay,
Doctor,
thank you.
Doctor, where is your partner?
I will start on behalf of us too, and Dr. Ievgeny will join in the process. So I would be speaking on behalf of us too, having prepared this report. And I would like to I would like to start, and I would like to give you a short glimpse of what is going to be covered in our today's presentation, and it's about the overall overview of the sustainable development and sustainable mountain development. We will try to cover the basic, the nature of the sustainable development goals, where do they come from, how they have been shaped. We will dig a little bit deeper into the specificities of the targets for sustainable mountain development, and we will cover contemporary challenges for achieving sustainable development goals in Ukraine and Caucasians. So I suggest that we start with the next slide. And the question, first of all, and the foremost that is to arise is, what is a sustainable development? And for this, we have the perfect, okay, probably I should do like that, right? Yeah, it would be better. So the perfect definition, that actually the legislation gives various types of definitions of sustainable development, but the one which we suggest us all to address and to look as the basis is the following one. Sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This definition has been given by the international community and comes back in time and was generated in the Our Common Future report of the World Commission in 1987. So since then, the definition has been varied in different legal sources. But anyway, this is the basis which I suggest us all to refer to when digging into understanding of sustainable development. And now I've got like some kind of a question which I would be answering. Let's think over, is this picture a picture of a sustainable development? Why it matters? Because here we can see mountains, the ones which we will be talking about, and mountains have unique attributes, contributions, and of course, vulnerabilities. So the question arises, is this picture an example of a sustainable development? Looks pretty sustainable because here we see the beautiful natural landscape. However, if we look a little bit deeper, we will see the next one. So this is how our mountains look like in real if we dig a little bit deeper. And this is actually what our whole presentation will be about. So starting from 1992, when Agenda 21, the renowned international legal act, accepted on the international level the importance and the significance of the mountain ecosystems and took mountains as an important part of the whole world and devoted it a separate chapter number 13, that was titled as Managing Fragile Ecosystem Sustainable Mountain Development. There, it was identified and it was defined that mountains are an important source of, let's look at the next picture. Of course, the first source that is to be mentioned is water. And here we can see the stats that mountain regions provide from 60 to 80% of the Earth's fresh water upon which humanity depends. So it is one of the vital sources of water supplies for the whole world. Then the same legal act identified that the mountains are the important source of energy, because as we can see, the mountain provides sustainable energy for downstream cities. Of course, we will be talking about biodiversity, and mountains are the source of unique biological diversity because it is the home for unique ecosystems. It is the home for unique representatives of species and different varieties of creatures that is unlikely to be met nowhere else in the world. As well, it is a source of the following key resources, and it as well was identified by Agenda 21. So mountains cover 27% of the world's land surface, and they are home to some of 950 million people. Minerals. Of course, we will be talking about mountains as the resource of the greatest mineral bases, the one that is pretty vital for the whole humankind. Of course, it is about the forest production, and you can see over here how mountains are being exploited for getting forest products. And here we will a little bit further look into the problem of logging in the Carpathian Mountains and the example of the Ukrainian Carpathians. As well, it's agricultural products and recreation. I'm sure that various topics have already been covered, various aspects have been covered, but we decided to start with this introductory part for us to collect the whole picture of the importance of the mountain ecosystems and what they are rich for and how they were claimed to be that important with the help of the international documents. However, we know that despite all of the effort the humankind is making, mountain ecosystems are rapidly changing, and they are susceptible to accelerated soil erosion, landslides, rapid loss of habitat, and genetic diversity. So actually all of the treasures that mountains are famous to obtain, they are in the very rapid process of disruption, and actually we are losing it. As a result, most global mountain areas are experiencing environmental degradation. I suggest us to have a look at the next video. It's pretty short and it will cover it all. So please.
Dear Kopytsia, do you have any sound on that video? Have you got any sound?
Well, I have, but I suggest that this could
And
be.
while sharing your screen, you need to click on tick. You have to make a tick that you need to share the audio also, because we can't hear the audio.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I see. Probably I will try to do it in this way, and in this way it should work. Okay. You cannot hear it now, right?
No, the way I was saying that you need to stop the sharing. Then while sharing, there is an option you will see that share the audio sound.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Again, choose sharing the presentation. You have to stop sharing first. It only
stop sharing. Okay,
yeah.
I see. Yeah, I did. Okay.
We can still see your screen. We can still see your screen.
Okay. If you don't mind, you can actually look at like some parts like of the video without any sound. Actually, it's more just about showing the pics. I can comment on it if you don't mind, so that we will proceed. Yeah, thank you very much for your assistance.
Again, if you don't think that there is some important information, then
yeah, I see.
Yeah.
It's just like it was just like the introductory one. Let me proceed like that.
And later you can share the link for this video and people can watch it as a sound.
So actually the purpose of this video was to show how the unique nature is being combined with the modern challenges, and like that it is the mountains that always have taken part in various battles, but it is the humankind that now is giving the battle to the mountains. And this is actually what the sustainable development and why sustainable development have been introduced into dealing with the mountains and have been raising upon like the hot topics of the present and were raised as United Nations agenda. So yeah, we can see that the mountains are pretty vulnerable, and like let's proceed with the next one. So the proper management of mountain resources and socio-economic development of the people, it's undoubtedly deserves immediate action. And we could have seen from like a couple of photo shoots which you saw in the previous video. You can see it with the help of this picture, because it's like the great example of what mining does to the ecosystems of the mountains, while we cannot see the like wildlife that is suffering. So
Evgenia, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you close the Zoom and can you go back to your presentation? We would love to see your lovely slides. Very nice slides.
Oh, okay. You couldn't see it. You still couldn't see it.
Please.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Pardon. Yeah. Sure. Thank you for your assistance over here. Okay. Look like I have been used, to all of these issues, like with the help of the pandemic times, but no, looks like I'm still can be the one to suffer from these technical issues. Okay, can you see on my screen now?
Yeah, please close the settings of Zoom.
Yeah, over here, right? Okay, and yeah.
Still we see
Yeah.
Zoom settings on the top of your presentation.
What about now?
I don't see
It's
it.
still the same. Let me help. Let me stop your presentation and you can share it from the beginning if it helps.
Yeah, of course.
Share again.
What about now?
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for your assistance. Thank you. So this is the example of the degradation of the overexploitation. And as I have already known, that the proper management of mountain resources, it's the one that deserves immediate action. And this is the document I was talking about in the very beginning, Agenda 21. That is the first legal act that proclaimed the importance of managing fragile ecosystems in the context of the sustainable mountain development, with a separate chapter devoted to it. And it marked the first time that the mountains were recognized as a global priority and led to a number of meetings on this topic. And each of these produced a long list of priorities. It has been the result of the long time efforts of the interested communities and scientists, because mountains have always been kind of underestimated. And finally, it happened with the help of the international conference in Rio, as the result of which the Agenda 21 was adopted. So overall, please let me introduce you into the overview what Agenda 21 is. And this is a comprehensive plan of action to be taken globally, nationally, and locally by organizations of the United Nations system, governments, and major groups in every area in which human impacts the environment. And mountains are there. And it was adopted, very important that it was adopted by more than 178 governments at the United Nations Conference in 1992. So this is the overall view, how mountains contribute to the whole world's ecosystems. And you can see it's all together. The one that I started the introduction with. So this is the source of water, unique resources, unique biodiversity, unique ecosystems, natural pastures. These are all of the examples of that. As well, additionally, I would like to stress, and it has been mentioned by the previous speaker, that it gives the sense of play, spiritual value, sport, and tourism. Here is about the tourism, referring to the previous one. It is the great source of genetic resources. Moreover, it is the source of the traditional knowledge and products. It gives us the important set of the weather information, and it helps us to indicate the global changes. And unfortunately, the climate change, the one that is on the hot topics to be discussed nowadays. So overall, mountains matter. Overall, mountain ecosystems are of high importance, because they give us not only the source of the minerals and ways how we will be dealing without them when they got exhausted, but they They are the homes for people, they are homes for the humankind overall, because lots and lots things depend on them. With the help of the QR codes, which you will be able to see during my presentation, you can get some additional info. So you can scan it now, or you can use it after, when this presentation will be posted on the website. So it's just for your convenience and for some extra information that I would like you to see. Some of them contain some videos, some of them will contain some fact sheets. So let me proceed. The overall introduction to all of these was to make me say that we should be mindful about mountains, and like the overlook how the historical aspects like took part into forming the sustainable development goals, and how sustainable development goals are influencing on the conserving of the mountain ecosystems is the following. So it all started in 1992, as I have already mentioned. And in 1995, now I will outline the important pillars of the formation of the sustainable mountain development. And sustainable mountain development in 1995 for the first time discussed like overall at the third session of the Commission of the Sustainable Development. And it got like additional chapter number 1 to cover the current issues and the ways how they can be addressed with the international community, by the international community. And there it has been said the following, that mountain ecosystems and environments are of crucial importance because they are unique centers of biological and cultural diversity. And all of the rest, which we have already mentioned, and that they are very vulnerable to degradation. The next stage of the formation happened in 2002. And this is what was outstanding, because it was proclaimed to be the International Year of Mountains. And actually the video that I was willing to show you and failed was the one to be created for the International Year of Mountains, trying to pick the international attention to the issues of the mountains. And this was the moment when the international society managed to understand, accept, and introduce the importance of the mountain ecosystem in the way of proclaiming the International Year of Mountains. And its aim was to ensure that the mountain, the safeguarding, the well-being of mountains and lowland communities should be taken under the close attention, and it should promote the conservation and sustainable development of the mountain regions. The next point happened in the Rio Conference +20, and it happened in 2012. And it was about the future we want, and it was the one to stress the vulnerability of fragile mountain ecosystems. And it was the aspect of the climate change that was already on the top, on the first lines. Climate change, deforestation, forest degradation, land use change, land degradation, and natural disasters, and the loss of the communities of the mountains, that was named under the marginalization of the communities. So the loss in all of the terms, like depopulation of the mountains, as well as some kind of social issues that were going on. So these were the basic stages of the sustainable mountain development in the international legislation. We started with the Agenda 21 in 1992 and ended in 2012. But of course, it's not where we ended. And here we come to the most important part. And this is Agenda for Sustainable Development 2030. And this was the final, and it's for now, it's the basic document which we will be appealing when digging into the mountain development and the sustainable mountain development. And it happened in 2015. I'm sure that most of you know this. So Agenda for Sustainable Development focused on the various issues of the sustainable development for the whole world. And this was the moment when the sustainable development goals were introduced on the international level. And Agenda for Sustainable Development was the one to devote the whole paragraph number 33, to the issues of this sustainable mountain development. And it focused on the impact of the sustainable management of natural resources on the different social and economic development. And of course, among them was the importance of the conservation and sustainable use of mountains, among other ecosystems. The 2030 agenda mentioned mountains among the ecosystems that should be conserved, restored, and sustainably used in line with obligations under international agreements. So here we come to the moment when we need to identify the definition of what are sustainable development goals. And here you can see we are coming back 2015, and sustainable development goals, also known as the global goals, were adopted by the United Nations as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. So such a broad definition was introduced, but they are pretty particular in case when they are applied into the national legislation of every single country. Let me proceed that there are 17 sustainable development goals, and they are all integrated. And this means that they recognize that the action in one area will affect outcomes in others. And the development must be balanced in terms of three main pillars. So it's society, the social sustainability, its economy, economic sustainability, and its environment, environmental sustainability. And there is such kind of the pledge, like leave no one behind, the aim of the sustainable development goals. And countries participants to the United Nations, international, who took their international obligations under the international UN documents, they committed to fast track progress for those like set of actions that were suggested to be introduced by sustainable development goals. And here you can see all of the sustainable development goals to be mentioned. As well, the QR code for you to have a short glimpse with the help of the video. Like you can use them for this video for educational purposes, to see what are sustainable development goals in like 2 or 3 minutes. And here we come to the question, which sustainable development goal or goals mention mountains? So now we know that in 2015, the United Nations devoted a separate paragraph, number 33, to the preservance, to the guidance, to the conservation of the mountain ecosystem. So it accepted the mountain ecosystems among those that should be regulated internationally with the help of the international legal documents. So we now know that they have been the sustainable development goals that were introduced in the same period of time, year 2015. But which of them would address mountains, or which one? The question is not that easy. And one more time, I would refer to the previous speaker and to the Carpathian Convention, because it's hard not to mention this legal document, because this is like a unique regional instrument for achieving sustainable development goals in Carpathians when we're talking about the specific one. And the uniqueness of this convention is that it's the multi-level governance mechanism that covered like not like the whole Carpathian area. And like with exception for the Alpine Convention, it is the second sub-regional treaty based regime that was aimed to protect and to ensure sustainable development of the mountain regions. And you can see over here that Carpathian Convention appeals to the following set of sustainable development goals. So, as it has been mentioned on the 2 slides before, the sustainable development goals are integrated. So there is no ability to, well, we can, of course, but it's better not to take only one in a totally separate form, because they are all integrated, and the actions that are done in the one sphere, they will undoubtedly influence on other spheres. So Carpathian Convention deals with the following Sustainable Development Goals. Number 4, number 6, number 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13. So you can see all of them here together with the targets. But I suggest that we pay closer attention to the next one. And this is the goal number 15. And the goal number 15 is the one that is specific about the sustainable mountain development. So according to the formation of the goal, its aim is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainability and manage forests, combat desertification, and how to reverse land degradation to halt biodiversity loss. And targets are the ones that are specifying these goals. And indicators, they represent the metrics by which the world aims to track the success of the targets and the way how they are achieved. So while mountains certainly touch the big variety of sustainable development goals, the specific one, the one which I would like us to understand, is the goal number 15. And the United Nations has defined 12 targets and 14 indicators for Sustainable Development Goal 15. Over here is the handy use for you. So what is there? What is understood, and where are the mountains in the Sustainable Goal number 15? And for this, we need to have a closer look at the targets. And here you can see that target number 1 of Sustainable Development Goal 15 is to conserve and restore terrestrial and freshwater ecosystems. And there it is identified. I would later explain you why 2020, because here it is mentioned, and it is the quotation of the target from the UN document, that by 2020, the humankind should ensure the conservation, restoration, and sustainable use of the mountains among of the other parts of the ecosystems and its services. So target number 1 is deliberately appealing to the point of the sustainable mountain development. Target 15.4 aims, and this is the most specific one, to ensure conservation of mountain ecosystems. And over here, you can see the target line that by 2030, the conservation of mountain ecosystems should be ensured, including their biodiversity, in order to enhance their capacity to provide the benefits that are essential for sustainable development. The most specific target in terms of mountain sustainable development. And the targets, as it has been already mentioned, they contain indicators with the help of which, let me remind you, we can track the progress and the success of introducing the certain targets and of course the aim overall into life. So Sustainable Development Goal Indicator 15.4.1 deals with the coverage by protected areas of important sites for mountain biodiversity. Here you can find more information about this indicator. And Sustainable Development Goal Indicator 15.4.2 is about Mountain Green Cover Index. As well, for more information, you can scan over here. So as I promised, I would like to say a few words about the 2020 and 2030. So if the previous target 15.1 was referring to 2020, it doesn't mean that it's overdue or that it is not applicable for 2021, because the set of the targets were aimed at the certain stages of the development of the progress that could be easily tracked if this or that aim works. So some of the targets were referring to the period of 2020. Again, we should remember Sustainable Development Goals were introduced in 2015, so a short-term period of time. And this is pretty classic for the international legislation overall, to devote the different targets and the moments of delivering different targets for short terms and long-term periods. But overall, it was a longer term period, 2030. So
Miss, we have 1 minute left. If you just can quickly wrap up, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So this is about the way how the Mountain Green Index works, and that it measures the percentage of the mountain areas covered by some forms of green vegetation. And like this is how it is being introduced, and that it measures the changes of the green vegetation, and with its help we can figure out how well it works. And here, like a very short glimpse like on Ukraine. And as you know, the Carpathian Mountains, they are on the global 200 list by the World Fund. And they are one of the 200 most important natural areas in the world. Here you can see them. And here, like the fact that what territories are being included in the Carpathian regions, and how many people live there. And actually, this is the example of the Carpathian Biosphere Reserve. And actually here, like I would like to proceed. Yeah, just I'm working against the time. Like if you can bear me for more 2 minutes, I will very quickly enlighten the ones, and then would share the presentations for those who would like to dig into the specificities. Can I have 2 more minutes, right? Okay, so Ukraine is committed to the values and goals that are defined in the 2030 Development Agenda. And here is the way how sustainable development goals in Ukraine and the process of adaptation of sustainable development goals. It took some period of time for Ukraine to adapt it. Like with the help of the following documents, that was adopted in the 2017, Ukraine managed to introduce the Sustainable Development Goals into its legislation. And it was a set of the different legislative acts of the national nature of the national, by the national government to be introduced. And the goal number 15, it was as well introduced by the presidential decree, by the set of the other legal normative acts. The basics for the introduction, for introducing sustainable development into the framework of the Ukrainian legislation was with the help of the data collection issues, because it was the way how to track the monitoring and how to track the way the sustainable development goals can be introduced and can be achieved by every single country. And why Ukraine is in the center of the attention of our today's presentation, because it's a great example how we can succeed and how we can fail. And there is a special monitoring report that provides a summary on Ukraine's sustainable development indicators, and as well the full report. You can proceed over here. And it's pretty interesting to because it's usually about the question that arises how well the countries can introduce sustainable development goals and how sustainable development can be met. And with the help of such reports, we can track actually this progress. And like here, a couple of tables which you will be able to see while looking at this presentation. But overall, what I would like to point out that the current state of the natural resources in the Carpathian region of Ukraine is inconsistent with its principles, criteria, and requirements of sustainable development strategy. Despite all of huge work that has been done by the government and from the side of the legal legislators and activists, no matter, it's just far from being achieved according to all of the indexes and all of the proclaimed aims that we were expected to achieve by 2020. Actually, this can be the example of why we fail. Because this is the part of the news about Carpathian Mountains, and all of this news, they cover the deforestation, the floods, and the direct connection of the floods that happen in the western part of Ukraine with the deforestation, and that the climate change is being rapidly taking in place because of this deforestation. And this is how this expectation reality can be correlated. And actually, as well, it's about the loss of biodiversity because of the illegal poaching. And overall, there is a kind of the solution to this, and this solution could be found both in the international documents and in the national documents. However, mainly, which I would like us to stress and to finalize my presentation, our presentation, it's like that these are the ways how we can deal with the issues that are facing different types of sources. One of the most effective measures, and actually the one that has been proclaimed by the targets of Sustainable Development Goals, is the preservation of the mountain biodiversity in the way to establish the network and designate the territories and objects as natural reserves. And the Nature of Reservation Fund is the one to create the conservation of international importance. And for example, this already exists in Karpatsia National Natural Park, but the aim is to include more territories that now are in the rapid form of the degradation and deforestation to the international fund of natural reserves and the objects that should be safeguarded by the international community in order to deal with the issues of the illegal use of the resources that are placed over there. This is the example of another national park that we have in Ukraine, in the territory of the Carpathian regions. This is as well as a video that you would be able to see as well, like very quick glimpse. It's about the state program for the development of Ukrainian Carpathian region that was taken already with the consideration of those challenges that Ukraine is facing in terms of the degradation of the mountain ecosystems and the mountain resources. And according to the reports that Ukraine fails to meet the sustainable development goals in ensuring mountain development. While one more important thing that I would like to stress, and for me it looks like one of the most important one, is that we the involvement of the indigenous people and local communities should be done. Because these, and in Ukraine we have, in the Carpathian regions of Ukraine, we have Hutsuls, Boykos, Lemkos, and other smaller ones. And this is their unique knowledge. So they can be the ones to give us the answers to preservation and the answers how all of the sustainable development can be reached in the terms of the mountains. And we should neither underestimate nor ignore the uniqueness and the knowledge of the indigenous people in terms of ensuring sustainable mountain development. And they should not only be protected, and they are protected according to the Sustainable Development Goals, but they should be taken as an example that we need to follow. So
Dr.
overall,
Ievgeniia.
Yeah, I'm finishing. Yeah,
Sorry,
so overall,
because
we're here to say
we have a responsibility to follow the.
Sure, I understand.
schedule.
I understand. I understand.
Thank
So
you.
overall, mountains do matter, and this is the great project that was introduced, and the ones that I was using in the process of my presentation, and it was thinking like a mountain. So the photo project by Helena Schmitz, and over here, we would like to say thank you, and we're here to think like mountains. And on behalf of us two, Dr. Evgeniia Suietnov and me, we would like one more time to welcome and to express our gratitude for your patience, for taking the time. Thank you very much, the respected moderators, and thank you.
Thank you.
Big pile of information that I would like to share. So please welcome to answer to ask any questions. I will be waiting for any of them, and I would be looking forward to answering them. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your patience and attention.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kopytsia. Thanks a lot. It was really a lot of information, and we were running out of our time. So without further delay, let me welcome now Dr. Siman